historically, relationships and networking hasn't been seen to be an enhancer of service delivery, but I think in this process it's really shown me that it is. I've seen that networking with the stakeholders for QADP has really helped the client at the end.
After I felt some familiarity as such with what was expected, I started to feel excited, I started to feel motivated. I felt that I could actually contribute to this.
I'd stopped being reflective in my practice, and yet when I'm training staff and talking with staff and preaching about reflective practice, and it's like, well, I'm doing supervision and I'm doing all these things, so I must be doing it. And then I think it was the third time we were there, I've gone, oh, I actually haven't been reflective in my practice, only at certain points.
I thought we had a general consensus right from the start of the concept of we picked that topic that we wanted to improve the intake advice and generally share info a little bit more to get people talking.
For me personally, very nervous, coming into this program, I was hoping I'd get a lot out of it, which I did, through the leadership and stuff like that. Yeah, I think that built my leadership up and brought us, the group, a lot closer together.
What do we do as a group to get better outcomes for children and families? So for me to have that sitting there, that I know where I'm heading, that how I'm going to get there, or how this group is going to make significant change for children and families, and will it be driven back up? If we come up with those great ideas, will there change occur? That's for me. I know that,
There's a lot of suspicion from other services and concern about confidentiality, and if we're sharing information the way we want to share, does that breach the policies of their organisation? What does that look like in terms of legislation? All of those things. So just by starting this dialogue, people are starting to ask questions.
What we've been trying to do so far is get the foundation there, those relationships and that networking happening, and then from that the other stuff will actually flow. And that's exactly what she did with her hands.
I thought we had a really good group of people. I didn't find there was anyone there that I couldn't trust, and I found I was very open, overtly open. Actually, sometimes I'd have to probably stop myself and go, am I actually getting a little bit too passionate about this?
I felt that at the beginning there was some confusion about what it was all about, where this was actually going and what was its real target group as such. Then, getting some clarity after a meeting or two, and I think we got to that point there where we were all sitting down and I was drawing the tree. That was probably the highest point for me, where I felt I really sort of focused on what we were doing. I had some clarity around what we were trying to achieve.
The journey's been good, the process has been good, but I'm just like Glenn, there was still a bit of confusion as how to, for our group as the storytelling group, and what was expected of us, and how to tell those stories, and how to capture the other group's stories, and how do we collate that into the story itself for the whole of the community practice.
I was very motivated, I was quite excited. It was, I had it all together, I knew where we were going, particularly with the storytelling. Then I seemed to have got lost. I sort of peaked and troughed again, and a little bit of the glue came unstuck, and I'm thinking, what's the story, where's the story going, and the purpose? However, I think I've again just been really motivated, got back on track and thinking, yes, this is a long-term journey. I think I felt that there was not, could it go? I didn't think it could go anywhere.
I'm learning more about what other organisations do within the community and building upon the networks that we currently have.
I think even though we all we have different backgrounds, come from different organisations, but we had that common thing that pulled us together around the practice. Because I know that the people that were sitting at that table were the ones that had the passion for it and kept on driving it.
And then when we explored we thought it was a good place to start by exploring our own practice frameworks. It was a good place to start, and when we were able to reveal that to one another, I think that established some sort of common ground.
You know, we want to talk about sharing information, we want to have integrated service delivery. Is it about, instead of being able to dot your I's and cross your T's like I love to do, getting that out in people's consciousness so they're really starting to think about that and have conversations with each other and between different services and how that impacts upon our client group.
And I think you're right, because I think it's my experience too, trying to make it was more complicated
Yes.
than what it really is.
Yes.
It's actually quite simple.
Yes.
We're
And
trying
I
to
think
make it more
for me,
complicated.
that was the surprising thing, that it is simple. I was trying to go from something simplistic, which I understood in the beginning,
Yeah.
and then I made it this massively complex process, but it really isn't. It is just the art of conversation.
There's nothing that I do that I'm not reflecting on where I've taken this community practice because of the learnings, the contributions from everyone, and the advantages of it basically.
I think for me that knowing that we have those pathways to make change is really important, and also as a group that we can pass that message to the wider community so they have a pathway to have feed up about change and what should happen at the coalface. So.
What we're doing now is a way to keep going forward rather than take one step back and let someone jump on top of us. So, from an Indigenous perspective, it's good to go forward, to keep going forward, because then our next generation, hopefully, we can teach them to follow that and not to be afraid of tackling those issues that you may come against within your agency. Yeah.
We were a bit of a task-oriented group, and I guess I'm a person also that likes to have outcomes. But I was thinking that, well, maybe it's not all about necessarily the outcome. Maybe it's about the fact that we're having the conversation around sharing information. Maybe it's about the fact that we are looking at different ways of working together and having those conversations out there.
Yarning in the Indigenous area is what you do to build relationships, and it's accepted. And then people see that when we're sitting down having conversations, we're actually not doing anything. But when you go back and you pull it apart, there's that initiation, there's rapport building, there's talking about the subject, and then there are exit strategies, all part of the conversations that we do. And I think it's because we're having a conversation, people see that as being inactive, when in actual fact it's through conversation that we've got to the 6th session and we've got all this stuff to talk about.